And I may do that for Greenland too. I may put a tariff on countries if they don't go along with Greenland, because we need Greenland for national security. So I may do that. I'll give you a little. I'll take you out of that. In fact, that'll end up being the story. But actually, this is a much bigger story because we're reducing healthcare by numbers that you haven't seen. So I spoke to the top.
Welcome back to 45th Perspective. I am glad you are joining me today for a conversation about a situation that is escalating faster than most of us can keep track of. Right now, there is a massive geopolitical showdown happening over the status of Greenland, and it has moved from speculative tweets to actual trade policy that will impact your wallet. Just yesterday, the Senate held a significant hearing and a bipartisan delegation traveled to Copenhagen to address President Trump's recent announcement of a 10% tariff on the UK and other European allies. We are going to dive into the facts of that hearing, look at the arguments for and against this Greenland-for-Tariffs strategy, and talk about what this means for the average American taxpayer. If you find this kind of deep dive analysis helpful, please do take a second to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us grow and keep bringing you these breakdowns. And if you want to support our independent work even further, you can find us on Patreon at patreon.com/45thperspective. +1. To understand why the Senate is currently in an uproar, we have to look at the timeline. President Trump recently posted on Truth Social that any country not going along with his plan for the United States to acquire Greenland will face a 10% tariff starting February 1st, 2026. This isn't just a threat against Denmark. It explicitly names the United Kingdom, France, Germany, and several others. By June, that tariff is scheduled to jump to 25%. The administration's core argument, which we heard echoed by supporters in the hearing, is rooted in national security. The White House contends that Greenland is a strategic necessity for the Golden Dome missile defense system and that Denmark is simply incapable of defending the territory against Russian or Chinese encroachment. From this perspective, the tariffs are a tool of peace through strength diplomacy, intended to force a conversation that the administration believes is over a century overdue. +4. However, the Senate hearing revealed a deep, bipartisan rift. We saw Senator Lisa Murkowski of Alaska and Senator Chris Coons of Delaware leading a delegation to reassure our allies that this is not a settled American position. Murkowski made a very pointed distinction that I think is worth reflecting on. She argued that Greenland must be viewed as an ally, not an asset. The opposition's argument is that by treating a sovereign NATO partner's territory like a real estate listing, we are incinerating the hard-won trust of the very people we need to secure the Arctic. They pointed to the fact that Denmark has actually increased its military presence with drones and fighter jets, contradicting the administration's claim that the island is defended by 2 dog sleds. +3. From a personal perspective, it is a tough needle to thread. On one hand, you can see the logic in wanting to secure the Arctic. As the ice melts, new shipping lanes are opening up and rare earth minerals are becoming more accessible. If the U.S. doesn't have a firm foothold, our adversaries certainly will. There is a realist school of thought that says the world doesn't care about feelings, it cares about geography, and the U.S. should do whatever it takes to win that race. But on the other hand, we have to look at the cost to ordinary Americans. Tariffs are essentially a tax on the consumer. If you're buying goods from the UK or Germany, those prices are going up. Furthermore, the broader implication for our security is massive. If NATO allies feel they can be bullied into ceding territory, the entire alliance structure that has prevented a world war since 1945 begins to crumble. We are seeing thousands of protesters in Nuuk and Copenhagen right now, and the Danish Prime Minister has been clear. Greenland is not for sale. What we are witnessing is a fundamental clash between 2 different visions of American power. One vision sees it as a transactional force where our economic might is used to extract geographic concessions. The other sees it as a leadership role built on mutual respect and shared sovereignty. Both sides claim they are protecting the American people, but they are taking vastly different roads to get there. As this develops, it's going to be crucial to watch if Congress actually passes the bipartisan legislation currently being drafted to block any funds from being used for a hostile takeover of a NATO ally. I want to hear from you on this one. Do you think the strategic value of Greenland justifies this kind of hardball trade pressure? Or are we risking too much by alienating our closest allies in Europe? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's keep the conversation respectful and fact-driven. Thank you for watching 45th Perspective, and I will see you in the next one.